Why 80% of Democrats now support Palestine. A number this big is more than just a headline. It's a political earthquake. A recent Reuters Ipsos poll found that a staggering 80% of Democrats now believe the United States should recognize Palestinian statehood. For decades, that idea was on the political fringe. Today, it's the mainstream position of the Democratic base. This new reality reveals a massive disconnect between Democratic voters and many of the party's own leaders, shaking the foundations of a political consensus that has held for generations. It's a story driven by a generational tidal wave, a new media landscape, and a fundamental rethinking of social justice in America. So what's really behind this historic shift? And what does it mean for the future of American politics? Section 1. The context. A political earthquake. To really get how huge this is, you need a little history. For most of the last 50 years, support for Israel was a rare point of bipartisan agreement. Within the Democratic Party, sympathy for Israelis consistently outweighed sympathy for Palestinians. As recently as 2001, 51% of Democrats said their sympathies were more with the Israelis, compared to just 16% for the Palestinians. Back then, the idea of conditioning military aid to Israel or officially recognizing a Palestinian state was pushed by only a few lone voices in Congress. But today, the landscape is completely different. A March 2025 Gallup poll found that 59% of Democrats now sympathize more with Palestinians, while only 21% sympathize more with Israelis. This is the lowest level of sympathy for Israel among Democrats in the 25-year history of the poll. On top of that, recent polling reveals an even deeper shift. An August 2025 Quinnipiac poll found that 3/4 of Democrats, 75%, want to stop sending military weapons to Israel. And a September 2025 YouGov poll found that 72% of Democrats believe Israel is committing genocide in Gaza. This isn't just a subtle change in opinion, it's a total realignment. The position of the Democratic base is now on a collision course with many of its established leaders and the party's historical platform. It's forcing a conversation that the party leadership can no longer ignore. Section 2. The breakdown. A generational and ideological divide. So, who's driving this change? All signs point to one key factor: age. There is a massive generational divide on this issue, and it cuts across both political parties. Younger Americans, particularly those between 18 and 34, are far more sympathetic to the Palestinian cause than older generations. One Quinnipiac University poll noted that 52% of voters under 34 sympathize more with Palestinians, while 65% of voters 65 and older sympathize primarily with Israelis. This trend is most powerful inside the Democratic Party. While support for a Palestinian state is high across the board for Democrats, it's even higher among the party's liberal and younger wings. This generational split even shows up in the Republican Party, though not as strongly. Younger Republicans are significantly less sympathetic to Israel than older ones, which suggests this is about more than just party politics. It's a broader cultural change. This divide is also ideological. This isn't happening in a vacuum. Progressive Democrats and activist groups like Jewish Voice for Peace Action have been pushing the party to adopt a more critical stance on Israeli policy for years, arguing that the official platform is shockingly out of step with Democratic voters. The growing influence of progressive politicians, often called the Squad, has helped pull these views from the fringe into the center of Democratic Party politics. Meanwhile, Republicans remain overwhelmingly supportive of Israel, with nearly 3 in 4 sympathizing more with Israelis. Their sympathy for Palestinians is in the single digits. This creates a vast partisan canyon. While 59% of Democrats side with Palestinians, only about 10% of Republicans do. This split is a major fault line in American politics, and it's a direct result of the trends reshaping the Democratic base. Not your watch. Section 3. The analysis. The why behind the shift. So why is all of this happening now? This shift isn't the result of a single event, but a perfect storm of powerful forces that were supercharged by the recent war in Gaza. First, you just can't ignore the massive role of social media. Younger generations get their news differently. While older Americans might rely on TV news or newspapers, which have historically framed the conflict in a way that often centers the Israeli narrative, younger people are on TikTok, Instagram, and X. And there, they see a completely different story. They see unfiltered videos of destroyed buildings, personal testimonials from Palestinians in Gaza, and a constant visceral stream of content showing the humanitarian crisis. This raw evidence erodes the official narrative and allows Palestinian voices to be heard in the American mainstream like never before. Second, younger activists are connecting the dots between the Palestinian struggle and other social justice movements in the U.S. Many now see the conflict through the same lens as movements like Black Lives Matter, a story of systemic oppression, racial injustice, and a fight for basic rights against a much more powerful force. This framework resonates deeply with a generation already mobilized by domestic social justice issues, making solidarity with Palestinians feel like a natural extension of their values. Third, the sheer, brutal scale of the recent war in Gaza acted like a massive accelerator. The conflict, which began after the Hamas attack on October 7, 2023, has led to immense devastation. According to Palestinian health authorities, the death toll had surpassed 68,000 by early November 2025. A Reuters Ipsos poll found that 60% of all Americans believe Israel's military response has been excessive. For many Democrats, the shift was dramatic. A July 2025 Gallup poll showed that only 8% of Democrats approved of Israel's military actions, a historic low. Finally, this shift didn't just stay on social media. It walked right into the halls of Congress. For years, most elected officials were either silent or offered unwavering support for Israel. Today, prominent members of Congress are openly calling for a ceasefire, conditioning aid, and advocating for Palestinian rights. This has given everyday Democrats permission to voice their own criticisms and has helped turn a change in opinion into real political pressure. Section 4. The implications. What happens next? So what does all this mean for the future? The Democratic Party is now facing a deep internal clash between its progressive, younger base and its more moderate, older establishment. This isn't just a minor disagreement, it's a conflict over fundamental worldviews. This tension is already boiling over in Congress. In 2025, a significant number of Senate Democrats voted to block military equipment to Israel, and dozens of House Democrats have co-sponsored bills to withhold offensive weapons. This puts the party leadership in a tough spot, siding with the base risks, alienating long-standing allies and moderate voters, but ignoring the base risks, demoralizing the most energized part of their coalition. For U.S. foreign policy, the era of an ironclad bipartisan consensus on Israel may be over. Future Democratic administrations will face huge pressure from their own voters to take a more balanced approach and be more vocal advocates for Palestinian rights. With 80% of Democrats supporting the recognition of a Palestinian state, it will be harder and harder for any Democratic president to just maintain the status quo. This could lead to more conditional aid and a serious reevaluation of America's role in the conflict. The long-term effects are still playing out, but one thing is clear: the ground has shifted for good. A new generation, shaped by social media and a social justice framework, has completely changed the conversation. CTA. This is one of the most significant political realignments of our time, and the debate is far from over. What do you think is the biggest factor driving this shift? And what will the consequences be for the Democratic Party and U.S. policy? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Conclusion. What we're seeing is more than just a blip in the polls. It's the result of a deep, generational transformation. Driven by a new media environment, framed by a social justice lens, and accelerated by the devastating realities of war, the Democratic base has moved decisively in its support for the Palestinian cause. For the first time, a strong majority of Democrats sympathize more with Palestinians than Israelis, and overwhelmingly support recognizing a Palestinian state. This has created a stark and widening gap between the voters and the party's old guard. presenting a monumental challenge to its leadership. The long-held bipartisan consensus on Israel is fracturing, and the future of America's foreign policy in the Middle East is now more uncertain than ever. This is not a passing trend. It's a political earthquake, and the aftershocks will be felt for years to come.